What up, YouTube? Yeah, Greymouth. This town's mint. Watch the sunset over our LGBTQ plus friendly church. This episode of New Zealand Murder History Podcast will contain some bad language. I'm sorry about that. It's for the purpose of telling the story. So check this out. This dude comes into my work, and I don't actually work there anymore, but I used to work at a gas station here in Greymouth. I worked there for 3 years. It was really cool. I love the job. Some of the customers were pretty weird. When I say pretty weird, I mean like off the planet weird, eh? But I remember one of the last times I seen the psycho guy. In fact, this was the second to last time I seen him. He comes into my work. And this guy, he liked me, or he'd always have a yarn to me. I always knew he was dodgy, but I'd yarn to him too, because he's a customer, you know what I mean? But yeah, the second to last time he come into my work, well, we had the special on Mrs. Mac's pies. You get these little mini pies, you get 2 for $5.50. Well, this bloke, he wanted 2 big proper Mrs. Mac's pies for $5.50. Now, for those of you who don't live in New Zealand, a Mrs. Mac's pie, they cost $4.50 now. I think they cost $4 back then. This is going back about a year and a bit. Anyway, dude's like, yeah, 2 Mrs. Mac's pies, $5.50. And I'm like, no, it's for the little pies, man. You can't get 2 big ones for $5.50. And he's having a row with me because it says on the sign. Now, to be fair, the signs in that gas station were very ambiguous, but I was quite clear that he wasn't allowed to get 2 big Mrs. Mac's pies for $5.50. So the dude comes up to the counter in the end after showing me the sign. I scan the pies, and he puts $5.50 and change down on the table, on the counter in front of me, and grabs the pies and goes to walk out. And I'm like, hey, nah, man. That's $8. And he's like, shut up, you homo cunt. I'll smash you up. And fucking walks off. And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, as much as I wanted my pies, I just, I wasn't going to throw down over a Mrs. Mac's pie, you know what I mean? It wasn't worth it. And to be honest, the dude's bad news, eh? But then the last time I ever seen him, well, he rocked up in his stupid boy racer car. I don't have a problem with boy racers. I'm a boy racer myself. I mean, I drive a grandma car, but I like hooning around. But anyway, as the story goes, the guy drives a low-cut Nissan boy racer car with mags and all that. He's completely bananas. He's flipso. And he pulls up on pump number 3. And the Maori Mafia are at my gas station, and they start shouting at them like they've all got beef, you know? And so this dude's kind of like standing in the middle, and he's like shouting back at them. And then there was this other guy, and he tried to give him the fingers, and then the crazy guy went and punched him and jumped back in his car and took off without paying. I mean, he wasn't really trying to steal. It's just, yeah, like I said, the Mafia was shouting at him. He didn't want to back down, so he had to do something to look tough, so he punched out this one fella. But then he didn't really want to fight them either because there were more of them and he was just by himself. And yeah, so he just jumped in his car and drove off. And that was the last time I ever saw the crazy guy. The guy's awful. Anyway, another time, apparently, he was trying to buy shotgun shells off someone for when the aliens come. So, yeah, this dude's pretty out there. But typically, me and the crazy guy got on. I mean, not the last few times he came in, but me and him were usually on good terms, or at least he didn't hate me. But, oh man, this guy was truly weird, eh? Like, check this out for awkward. This is pretty strange, eh? Dude comes in. This is another time, so this is prior to the first two stories I told. And he's checking out this hot young chick on the forecourt. And when I say hot young chick, she must have been, I don't know, 21 or 20 or something. Like, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was like, actually, it was that bad. The guy's a weirdo. But, I mean, in context, the bloke's about 39. I guess I would have been like 36 at the time. Yeah, and he's looking out the window, and I don't know, the dude's just weird as hell. And he's scratching his dick in the middle of my shop. There's no other customers in the shop, just me and this bloke. He's standing about 5 meters away from me, checking out this chick, and I'm just standing there staring back at him like, oh my God, this guy's a weirdo. But it gets worse. It didn't end there. Then he turns to me, so there's nobody else in the shop, me and this bloke. Turns to me and says, hey bro, I wouldn't mind practicing on her, eh? Fuck. And I'm just staring back at this dude in total disbelief, like, what the hell? Like he's looking at me like he's waiting for me to say something or laugh or something, and I'm just staring like, my lord, this man is bananas. Like, what is he talking about? Like, first of all, let's just let's just break it down a minute. Like, practicing? Who are we practicing for? I just got more questions than answers at the moment. And I'm staring back at him, and he's just staring back at me. And I'm just like, actually speechless for once. Anyway, then he says to me again, hey bro, I said I wouldn't mind practicing on her, eh? And I just turned back to him and I'm like, she's pretty nice, bro. Man, I hated that guy. He was so weird. He was awful. He was truly awful. He probably is still truly awful. Another time I read in the Grey Star that he was in the police cells, and he threatened one of the guards in the police cell, said he was going to burn her house down and stab her children or some mental bunch of rubbish. But yeah, that guy was definitely the worst customer. We had a few though, but he was at the high end of the spectrum. Probably still is. But anyway, Greymouth. Yeah, there's one or two troublemakers, but the place ain't bad. In fact, it's mint. Yep, here in Grey Valley, in between these two little mountain ranges. Well, there's an old Greymouth junkie legend that if you go up the disused railway tracks in the Grey Valley, the right time of year, there's a bunch of old opium poppies that pop up from when the Chinese gold miners were here. Is it true? Who knows? But yeah, this old place. Nah, it ain't bad. It's pretty cool. Is any of you out there planning on coming on a holiday? You know, maybe you want to leave the city, unwind somewhere quiet. Well, come to Greymouth. Go watch the racing at the Cobden Speedway. Go get a coffee at Seven Penny Restaurant. That's a good one. That's where I like to sit and write my show sometimes. Me personally, though, I'm gearing up to move out of here. But I still like this place, though. It's mint. A lot of old history. that kind of thing. Have a good one, everybody.